All right, Georgia's final practice of the season before the Sugar Bowl has concluded. Dean Leggy, Matt DeBerry, Ryan Curley. If you liked stretching, this was the practice for you. I did notice that Trevor Etienne was getting a little bit extra work in. Was that Smile Monday as well, just jogging at the end?
I believe so.
Okay. So some guys were still working a little bit, but practice today at the Superdome. Look, this is an important game, needless to say. Terminal game. The Dogs have played a bunch of big games this season, and Matt, Notre Dame is the next on the docket.
Yeah, and they were working on their flexibility today. There was the dragon pose, the lizard pose.
Can you do any of those?
I could do a little of the dragon. I can't do the lizard. I'm working on it. I felt like I should have been out there, working on my glutes as well. But we've said in another video, there's not a lot of anxiety going around. They're loose. They're happy to be here, but they know what the mission is.
Well, the feel at practice was different than the feel in this room earlier today, I have to say.
Yeah. But they're locked in and they're ready to go, Ryan. It just kind of feels like the calm before the storm a little bit with the yoga going on. But it was nice to see them kind of in a relaxed environment, hanging out with each other, being friendly. They seem ready to go, though.
Yeah, we saw this 2 years ago ahead of the Peach Bowl. We were given a yoga session to watch, and it is what it is, but it does go along with the theme of, look, they were calm, relaxed during media day. Right around here was these tables is where we got to talk to them, and yoga is something that induces calmness. It's something that's supposed to be good for the mind and the body. It certainly was chill inside there.
Yeah.
They got a legit instructor. I think it was the same lady.
No, yeah, it's her.
I don't know what the lizard pose is. I've tried yoga one time. And
you don't have kids either, do you?
Difficult.
You don't have kids. Maybe stay away from the lizard pose, Ryan.
That's you can take it from there.
Still good from there. I got a great offer for you from BetMGM, our buddies over there. You can use the promo code MEGABET, MEGABET, Matt DeBerry. We're going to play responsibly. On your first bet, you can get up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. The code is MEGABET, MEGABET. This is going to be, and we've tracked this line. It's started with Notre Dame being about a 1.5 favorite. There's any number of things you can still bet on right now. Notre Dame started as a 1.5 point favorite. It's like it depends on where you're looking at. I have not checked MGM today, but my suspicion is it's going to land between Georgia being a 1.5 or 2.5 point favorite. I don't see it, and Georgia could be a half point favorite. It's sliding all over the place. Why is the line so tight? Is this about Gunnar Stockton? Is this about the Irish? Go ahead, Matt.
I think it has to be most about Gunnar Stockton, right? I wonder where the line is if Carson Beck were healthy and hadn't led them to. It would be more, right? But this team, they're not flinching. They believe in Gunnar, and I think, this group has seen Gunnar enough to know that he is capable of getting the job done. I don't know if the people in Las Vegas have done their research on Gunnar, but again, the fact that there's only a limited amount of plays that they've seen and can put on tape, I do think goes to Georgia's advantage. But again, this is a team that's been there, done that. They've played in these big games. They've played well in a lot of these big games. And I know they've kind of been up and down this year, but there have been times where they look like the best team in the country, and you have to kind of remember that. And we've seen how good that defense can be against good offenses, right? Texas couldn't run them either time. Notre Dame has to get that running game going, and it's not going to be easy against a Georgia defense.
I think the line might be a little. It's mostly about Gunnar.
I don't think you'll have to be as quiet as you're being.
Okay, I'll speak up a little bit, but I don't think that the line is. I think it's mostly about Gunnar. Part of it is about the inconsistencies of this team.
Yes.
I mean, the way they played against Georgia Tech is completely different than the way they played against Texas twice. And then what happened at Kentucky, they showed that this is a squad that it can struggle, and you don't really know exactly when that's going to come. And I think that's part of why, Georgia, if they were more dominant this season, this line would be close to 10 points.
Yeah.
I think
you're right.
I think it has to do with the inconsistencies, but it is. You're getting a few points shaved off there because of the quarterback situation.
But doesn't it completely reasonable? We're so.
If Riley Leonard were out and their backup quarterback is in, the line would drop 10 plus points.
You think it'd be that much?
Probably.
Here's what I'd say too is you just don't know what's going to happen in these games. You're talking about Riley Leonard's backup. I would say all but certainly that Ryan Puglisi would be the backup that would come in for Gunnar Stockton. You're getting on down the line. Carson Beck will be here at some stage before the game. I don't know when, but everything's you have to be ready for every possible situation. I was talking to Mike Bobo today for a little bit of time, not a long time, and he was talking about how I'll write it soon, but he was talking about how he had to kind of scramble just to the scramble, not that he was scrambling, the scramble from getting up from the press box to the field, and then from the field back up, and like all that was going on all at the same time. It looks like Carson's out. You get up, it's definitely Carson's out. All this stuff, and we don't know. Here's the other thing. Georgia knows the Dome at the Mercedes-Benz, Ryan. They've not played at the Superdome since 2020. I mean, Matt and I were here for January 1st, 2020, before COVID. That was a fun night and everything, but they don't know the Superdome, and Mike's going to have to get up and down, and we don't know what the future holds in any of these games. So I think, to me, the consistency on offense has been the problem for Georgia this season, generally speaking. It's not been the defense. If Georgia's going to win this game and beyond, Ryan, it's going to have to be that the defense performs the entire time.
Yeah, and it has to limit Notre Dame's run game, because I think that everyone has watched enough this season to know that Georgia could certainly limit a Notre Dame passing game that's not very dynamic and doesn't push the ball downfield very often, especially if it doesn't need to. But they have multiple good backs, and one of them is one of the best running backs in the country, and Jeremiah Love, a guy that can take it 98 yards. And the thing is, they're going to be going up against different types of athletes. Notre Dame has not seen a front like this.
I think that's a really important point.
It hasn't seen Jalen Walker. It hasn't seen Michael Williams. It hasn't seen a Damon Wilson, and it hasn't seen all of them together on one team.
Michael's got to play like
they got to play like the top 5 projected pick he was before the start of the season, and he really hasn't played up to that. He
did against Texas the second time. He played pretty well, I thought.
He did, and that's going to be one of the differences. Notre Dame is probably going to get theirs on the ground at least a little bit. Can they get it done through the air as well? I don't see them being able to do both. If they do, we're talking about Notre Dame probably winning this game.
You got to limit the explosive plays, but defense on first and second down, getting them into those third and medium, third and eights are going to be key. I mean, as we saw with the Falcons, right? The Redskins, just 4 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards. They just kept moving forward. Georgia's got to make some plays around the line of scrimmage, in the backfield, some of those drive-killing, plays, or else, they have the ability to run kind of through you, for 5, 6, 7, and an occasional explosive play. But if Georgia can corral that, make him throw the football in 3rd and 5+ yards, I think, that's when you could start seeing him make some mistakes. He doesn't make many, but you got to put him in opportunities to where those mistakes will come.
Well, look, the pass rushing from Georgia has the capability of really being good. It's not necessarily consistently been good this year. Josh Hamilton is a really good pass rusher,
especially in the fourth quarter.
What do you mean? Go ahead.
And it just feels like they can really amp up late in the game when they need to and get after it.
We are we're 48 hours from the game, something like that. Almost 40, probably not quite 50 hours. And what I wanted to say about that too, about you were talking about the fourth quarter. I don't want to over-exaggerate it necessarily, but it's at least 3-1 Georgia fans to Notre Dame
that we've seen so far.
It could be more than that, and it could be that all the folks are coming in tomorrow for the game for Notre Dame, and it's just easier for Georgia. I don't know, but it looks like there could be a significant Georgia crowd, and the Superdome is not the place you want to be the road team. No. I've heard it before. It's not an ideal situation. I saw Florida State have to deal with it in 2002. That was tough for them. They could not function on offense against that, David Pollock, Boss Bailey, et cetera. Hawaii had no shot. Yeah. So if Georgia has an advantage and this is another quasi-home game, that would not be good. It would also help with the pass rushers. But with that said, Notre Dame has the ability here. They're going up against a guy that's starting for his first time ever. He's not known for throwing the ball a lot, Ryan. It's critical for Georgia to not get in positions where Gunnar Stockton makes a dumb mistake, because he has shown I can make a dumb mistake. Any quarterback can make a dumb mistake, and he proved that against. I keep wanting to say LSU, but it was Texas actually.
Game plan hasn't been surrounded around him since 2021 when he was at Rabun County High School. Right, he gets to Georgia in 2020, so it's been 3+ years since it's been. Hey, we're going into this week. I'm repping with the ones. This is my offense.
And he said it was different today.
It's been a long time, and it will be different because, look, awesome high school career, different level of competition. We're seeing him play against 2A guys, guys he can truck, guys he can run by.
Through.
And he's not going to be able to do that against all of these, defenders in college football, especially Notre Dame defense that definitely has some guys on it. So that it really is one of the biggest questions, and we've said it on camera a couple times. If they get down, if Georgia's down 14, 17 points, what does it look like if Gunnar has to throw the ball 40 times? Because we saw a handful of times this year where Carson threw 50 times in a game. He threw close to 50 in a couple of others. And there were games where they lived and died by Carson Beck's arm. If the run game isn't
but they did not have
effective,
ETN in
they did
many
not
of
have
those
ETN.
games.
So it's a matter of, if the run game struggles, are they going to drop back and throw it 35, 40 times? And is that going to
I don't think
look
either
good?
of these teams want to throw it more than 30
Neither of
times.
them want to.
They don't want to, but if you do, limit the turnovers. If you're throwing it 40 times, you can't throw 2 or 3 picks.
But Riley Leonard, I'm going off memory here. I'm not aware that he went over 250 this season.
I don't believe he
I
did.
think he did once, maybe.
Okay, so that's not his pedigree either. I mean, we've seen the guy. He's an athletic guy. He can have, but if you're a quarterback, you got to throw it to win. Whether you're Gunner or I don't care who you are, Tim Tebow, you have to throw the ball to be effective. That's what you're there for. You can accentuate the position and your skill level by running it. In talking to not just Kirby today, but Mike as well, one thing that they were both saying is decision making, number one, accuracy, number two, and then the ability to create and make plays. That was one thing that kind of Mike was, and I don't want to say annoyed about, but like something that, what I mean by annoyed about, he almost sounded like a defensive coordinator saying guys that can create, that's an annoyance to deal with for defense, because if it's 3rd and 6 and you're Deshaun Watson or Trevor or Stetson, you can just pick, or Joe Burrow, you can just pick it up.
Yeah. Carson made some plays and was creative at times with the run against Tennessee. He found a way, and he's picked up yards with his legs, but not like Gunner. And Gunner has that ability to create. I kind of thought the way he played in high school was very Johnny Manziel-ish.
It was, man.
It's kind of wild and eccentric and crazy, but most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, something pretty good happens. And he just plays with an energy and a fire and a passion that I loved when he was in high school.
He has an attitude.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So some of this is going off of the past. So I don't know what he's like now as a collegiate player, but I'm going to tell you, in the times that I saw him at Raven, and we were there for one game, I don't know if you and I were ever at the same Raven game.
There was
I
one.
think 3 of us were at one together.
The Jefferson game.
You and I were at that, but
okay.
the 3 of us separately went to one also.
Yeah,
up in
so
Raven.
my mother, just full disclosure, my family is from Towns County, which is better than Raven County. Take that. But it is right there. So
not as good as White County, though.
Well, let's not get too excited. And of course, DeKalb County is the best county of all. But take that, Forsyth County.
Yeah. At least you said it right.
Push it right in
yeah.
Forsyth. But I was, when Gunner was playing in high school, he knew he was better. I think it was pretty clear.
100%.
And he could dance and do a lot of things. But I think there's still a confidence from the team who's seen the guy practice now since 22, 23, 24. So 3 full years. They know Gunner Stockton. This is not new to them. I sense that there's no confusion about what will happen, but he's got to go do it. Yeah. And that's not the same thing, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thinking you can do it and knowing you can do it, and I'll say that. He did do it in the second half of the SEC championship.
These guys say that he flips a switch when he goes onto a football field, that he is this, quiet Southerner, keeps to himself, he's not a materialistic guy, all the different things you hear them say. But they said when it comes to football, he's ultra competitive, he has a voice, he has command of the offense, and all he's known is dominating in his football life. All he's known is domination. All he's been a part of with Georgia is seeing them win big games and being a part of that. And
how
now
many
it's
games
his
did
turn.
Raven lose? Probably they lost 4
over the course of his
4 years. They did not
At
win the
least
state championship.
4.
So we know they lost 4, and then he's been a part of
maybe 10 games max.
I think he's lost 3 games at Georgia. Oh, I don't think they lost 10 games total
in his 4 years career.
I know they went
max.
like 13-1 at one point or whatever it was. But generally speaking, that's not a lot. He's not eating a lot of losses.
Right.
I mean, go ahead.
You hear those stories from Malachi Starks. He said that they were matched up just throughout their youth, and Gunner always got the better of him. That he's just a winner, and that's what Kirby was saying after the SEC championship game, just talking about how much he's a winner. He's tearing up, and today he said that. I can't remember the exact quote, but he did talk about how these guys play harder for Gunner.
Well,
and how it changes the team and elevates the team. I just don't know if I've seen belief like this
Since Stetson.
It's more than that.
Well, here's the thing, though, and I hate to be throw the water on all of this and the wet towel or whatever, but he's got to go do it, and like.
Being capable of it is one thing. Putting it
and
into action, making the throws,
people
making
wanting
the plays.
it to happen for you is not the same as you doing it.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. I hate to be the old person.
They'll turn on you like that.
And they will turn on you quick.
You saw they turned on Carson Beck this year. You see how much they would go back and forth with Stetson.
Back and forth. I mean, it's just
people had a roller coaster of emotions when it came to Stetson.
Any quarterback, it's bad. But they're like we're in a new. I'm not sure we'll be in this situation in the next 10 years at Georgia where the quarterback that you have been starting for 2 years is gone, and now is replaced by someone who's quite clearly being absorbed and appreciated and lifted up by the fan base, because a lot of the fan base has roots like Gunner Stockton, or they are from rural Georgia, and which has great Georgia fans. But he's got to go do it, and that's the hard part, because Notre Dame doesn't suck. They're quite good on defense, and their secondary is legitimate.
There's going to be a 4th and 4, 4th and 5, or Gunner's going to have to make a big throw or a big time run.
You said 4th.
4th, yeah. There's going to be some 4th downs in this game. I think both teams are going to be going after it. I see both offenses being aggressive because it's not going to be easy for each one. So if they get in position 4th and short, depending on the yardage,
they're down a punter.
He's going to have to.
That's going to influence some of their special teams decision making. It already has.
Well, you got Woodring too, who was just a straight up weapon too. So you're going to have to. And Notre Dame had some challenges kicking it.
Yeah, their numbers weren't as good. They missed more kicks than they made this year.
And Woodring has been quite good. And you're in a dome and all these things. It's there for Georgia. They've got to go do it. By this time tomorrow night, we'll watch Penn State and Boise do their thing. I don't know what to say about that, but personally, I would prefer Georgia play earlier than 9 o'clock kick Eastern. I would like to sleep, but I think this group knows how critical this is, Matt. But the fan base is being asked a lot to come to all of these games.
Yeah,
and you can see that now. It's not very crowded with fans, generally speaking.
No, at the end of the day, they know the mission. And the opportunity is there for Gunner Stockton, for Kirby, for Mike Bobo, and this team to continue to do something that is special. So the opportunity is there. Like you said, got to go do it.
It's an unknown. We really don't know what it's going to look like. With this, like you said, Mike scrambling to get his game plan together. They didn't plan for Gunner to play at Texas. Obviously, they have packages for him, and it's not something they haven't thought about. But it's different. Now we're going to see, what does this offense really look like with a mobile quarterback again, and a guy that really can sling it down the field. It's there.
It could be really.
It could be dangerous.
Steady.
It could be better.
It could be better, and then
it could be worse. I mean, but it definitely could be better.
It can always get worse. I mean, like in life, it can always get worse. But we're just gonna see, and but I think it's a tremendous opportunity for Gunner Stockton to do something that, I know that part of Georgia well, and you don't see signs other than Bulldog signs. And you're talking about 30 minutes from Clemson or 40 minutes from Clemson. It is only Georgia people in that like square of Georgia, Towns, Rabun, and I guess Habersham.
Yeah,
but
sure,
like
Banks County, all that.
There's just
441
that
line.
is like the hardest core, like. It's because South Georgia's pretty hardcore too, but it's got some
sprinkles of it.
You
just hop on 441 and you're right. You get right there.
Yeah. And it's they love the dogs up there, and so now Gunner has that to think about and do it. He's just got to go execute. But anyway, we are in New Orleans. Again, thank you so much for watching. Catch us tomorrow. We'll have our picks for this game and beyond. We'll see you from the Superdome soon.